Hello, my friends. I'm old Kojima again. It warms my old heart to see you all here, ready to listen to another story from the past. Thank you for coming. Today I want to share a very special secret, a forgotten wisdom from the heart of old Japan, the soil. Not just any soil, but how our ancient farmers, with their clever hands and deep respect for nature, made their land rich and fertile, even with very little money. This is a story about forgotten wisdom and the simple, powerful ways they kept the earth healthy. In our modern world, we often think we need big machines and expensive chemicals to grow good food. But imagine a time, hundreds of years ago, when farmers worked the land with their bare hands and simple tools. They didn't have chemical fertilizers or tractors, yet they grew enough food to feed many people. How did they do it? They understood the earth, and they knew how to work with nature, not against it. They used what was around them, turning what we might call waste into black gold. Our ancestors believed that nothing should be wasted. Everything had a purpose, a place in the cycle of life. This was especially true for farming. In the Edo period, Japan had a very clever system, a kind of circular economy. What was waste in one place became a valuable resource in another. Think about the big cities like Edo, which is now Tokyo. Many people lived there, and all those people produced a lot of, well, human waste. Today we flush it away and forget about it. But in old Japan, this was not waste at all. It was called night soil, shimogoe, and it was very valuable. City dwellers would sell their night soil to farmers, who would then use it to fertilize their fields. It was a perfect system. Cities got rid of their waste, and farmers got free, rich fertilizer. This showed a deep understanding of how nature works, where everything is connected and nothing truly disappears. One of the most amazing secrets they had was a method called bokashi. The word bokashi means something like shading or fading away, and it refers to how the nutrients slowly release into the soil. Bokashi is a special way of fermenting organic matter, like kitchen scraps, rice bran, and other plant materials without air. It's different from regular composting, which needs air. How did they do it? Farmers would take things like leftover food, vegetable scraps, and especially rice bran, nuka, which is the outer layer of rice grains. They would mix these with special microbes, tiny living things that are good for the soil. Then they would pack it tightly into a container, removing all the air, and let it ferment for a few weeks. It didn't smell bad like regular compost because it was fermentation, not rotting. Once it was ready, this fermented mix, this bokashi, was like a concentrated food for the soil. Farmers would bury it directly into their fields. The bokashi would slowly break down, releasing nutrients to the plants over a long time. It made the soil rich, full of life, and helped the plants grow strong. It was a cheap and easy way to turn everyday waste into something incredibly valuable for the farm. Another clever trick they used was kuntan, which is rice husk charcoal. You see, after harvesting rice, there are many rice husks left over. Instead of just throwing them away, farmers learned to burn them in a special way, with very little air to turn them into charcoal. This is what we now call biochar. Kuntan looks like small, black, burnt pieces of rice husks, but it's very special. When mixed into the soil, it does many wonderful things. First, it makes the soil lighter and helps it breathe better, allowing air to reach the plant roots. Second, it helps the soil hold water like a sponge, so plants don't get thirsty too quickly. Third, and very importantly, Kuntan provides a perfect home for those good microbes, the tiny living things that make soil healthy. It's like building a little village for them in the soil. And there was another secret. Kuntan was often mixed with manure or even night soil. The charcoal helped to deodorize the strong smells, and, even better, it helped to trap the nutrients so they wouldn't wash away easily. This made the fertilizer even more powerful and long-lasting. It was a simple, cheap way to take a waste product and turn it into a powerful tool for soil health. Our old farmers also understood the importance of covering the soil, just like nature does in a forest. They used rice straw as a blanket for their fields. After harvesting the rice, the straw was not just thrown away. It was spread over the soil as mulch. This straw mulch did many things. It protected the soil from the hot sun and heavy rain, stopping it from drying out or washing away. It kept the soil temperature more even. It also helped to stop weeds from growing, so the farmers didn't have to work so hard pulling them out. And slowly, over time, the straw would break down, adding more organic matter and nutrients back into the soil. It was a natural, free way to keep the soil healthy and happy. They also collected grass and weeds from the mountains and forests, a practice called kusakari. This grass was not just for animals. It was brought back to the fields and either dug into the soil as green manure or left on the surface to break down. This added more organic matter, making the soil richer and more alive. Nothing was wasted. Everything was returned to the earth. The life of an old Japanese farmer was one of constant hard work, but also deep observation and respect for nature. They didn't have science books to tell them what to do. They learned from their parents, from their neighbors, and most importantly, from the land itself. They watched the plants, felt the soil, and listened to the seasons. They knew that healthy soil meant healthy plants, and healthy plants meant good food for their families and their village. This connection between the farmer, the soil, and the food was very strong. They understood that they were not just taking from the earth, but also giving back, always trying to keep the balance. These methods, bokashi, kuntan, night soil, mulching, were not just techniques. They were a way of life, a philosophy of living in harmony with nature, making the most of every resource and building a sustainable future, one season at a time. So, my friends, you see, the ancient Japanese farmers didn't have all the modern things we have today. But they had something just as powerful: deep knowledge of nature, respect for the earth, and a clever, resourceful spirit. They used simple, natural materials, kitchen scraps, rice husks, even human waste, with incredible wisdom to make their soil rich and productive. What can we learn from this today? Perhaps it's about remembering that the earth that feeds us is precious. Taking care of our soil, using natural methods, and wasting less These are lessons from the old ways that still hold much wisdom. We can all be a little more like those old farmers, working with nature to make our world healthier. That's all for my story today. Thank you so much for listening for so long. Please, everyone, take good care of our precious earth and take good care of yourselves. I hope we can meet again soon.